Hey everybody, it's Mark Yagi, and today I'm going to talk about the art of making money while you sleep. So this is a program talks about covered calls, and if you watch any of my channels, you know that covered calls are like the big investment strategy for creating passive income. And so I really believe in it. And every stock has a personality, and every trader has a personality, and not every stock is for every trader, and vice versa. So you've got to find the right stock for you. Well, I'm going to talk to you about a company called Apple today, and I want to show you kind of how I analyze going into the trade. Now, I'm not saying today's the day to enter this trade. In fact, it probably isn't. But I want to show you, now I'm keeping an eye on Apple because I think there's going to be a time, if you're a value investor, where you can get a little bit of Apple. So let's take a look at the chart. So I've drawn some of these red lines on the chart here, and you can see this 237 area is the breakout point. So it broke out and went way up there to 250, and now it's come back down. That's a pretty severe short-term downtrend, isn't it? And so you can see there's a couple of gaps on the chart. This big one that happened yesterday morning, that's a huge gap down. On energy, you can see that energy. Look at all the energy that's increasing as this stock is going down. That means the sellers are out, right? The sellers are coming out and they're getting rid of their stuff, and all these people that made a bunch of this money are taking it off the table, right? And so it's coming back. It tested that 237 level, and now it's coming back to test this 200-day moving average, this black line right here. And so I think that's where it's going. It's not too far away from it. That's not preposterous to say that. In fact, I think the stock, right now is at 222. There's a good chance it could go down another 10% and hit the swing point of 196.00, and then I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. I would bet that it's Apple. It's probably not going to go down too much farther than that. So I might be putting this on my watch list to say, okay, when the selling is over, and it's hard to pick out when the selling is over. We've got earnings coming up within another week or so. So when the selling is over, that might be the time, if I'm a value investor, and I'm usually a momentum investor, but I'm looking at Apple going, wow, it's really down. Why? China sales? That's it? Forget about the phones. They sell Apple Music and Apple EarPods and Macs and subscriptions to this and that. I mean, these guys are in everything. They're selling a few fewer phones in China. I don't think it's going to kill them. But maybe Warren Buffett's selling off or something like that. Anyway, this is all the fundamental and technical data of what Apple is doing. So I'm keeping an eye on it. But let's say that I did want to come into Apple and buy it and sell options on it today. Here's how I would do that. So let's bring up what's called an option chain, okay? So here's an option chain in Apple, and you'll see that I brought up the options that expire in a month, okay? Now, I'm cheating a little bit here because I'm showing you how to kind of evaluate this thing with some of the tools that they give you on the screen. So this is an option change. It shows you the bid and the ask. That's the wholesale and the retail price, right? And then it shows you delta. Don't worry about delta right now unless you know what I'm talking about. But the bottom line is, let's say that you bought Apple at $222.22. It's an interesting price that just printed. And then you wanted to go out and make income from this Apple stock. Well, Apple pays a little tiny dividend, not much, like pennies. So that's not where we're going to make our income, and we might have to wait for months before Apple actually goes back up to an all-time high. So how are we going to make the income? Well, we make it from something called the juice, is what I call it. It's actually the extrinsic value. In some systems, it's called the time premium. Taking a look at Apple and how that works out, you could see the time premium here is $7.39, right? That's $738 per contract that you get if you sell kind of right at the money, okay? That's our income. You want to know how good that income is? Well, if you could do this trade 12 more times or 11 more times this year, 12 times total, you end up making 40% return. Now, what that means is your stock is going to be closing at $222.50 or higher every month. Okay, well, that's not preposterous. If we pick the right stock and we got the right spot on the chart, that's not preposterous. If Apple goes up from here slowly, that's the best thing, and we end up making this $724 per contract. A contract has 100 shares. So we would buy the stock here at 223. We would sell the options here at 785, let's say. And we'd end up making, this $7.24 per share, which equates to right around 40% a year. But Apple is kind of looking like, if I were going to buy it today, I would be a little bit more wary of Apple. So I would want to protect myself a bit to the downside. Now, what that means is you have something called the in the money amount. It's the extrinsic value. It's the not in the money amount that is the juice, but it's the in the money amount that's going to be the protection. So I might look at this and go, you know what? I think it might go to 210, okay? So in the 210 options for a month, I'm going to get $311 per contract in juice, right, in extrinsic value, but I'm going to get a total amount of cushion of $1,620 per contract, okay? What that means is that Apple can go down by $1,600 or $16, I should say, from right here. If Apple goes down by $16, that puts it at what, 206, 207, something like that? That gives me a nice downside cushion. While I wait, I get this $320 a contract. You buy 10 contracts, you're talking about making $3,000 a month, okay? That's the income that we're going for, but we get the benefit of being in the money and selling options in the money and having that $1,610 as cushion on the way down. So there's a lot of ways to think about it. Now, the cool thing about this is the deeper in the money you go, the higher this delta number is. Think about delta like this. It's the percent chance that you have that the stock will close at or above the strike price, the $210 strike price. If it's a 78 delta and we're talking about the 210 strike price, we're looking at a 78% chance of us making our $322 because that's what we're really after, but we would get this cushion in case we're wrong. And that is what allows you to sleep at night when you do covered calls. We don't know if the stock is going to go up. We think we're smart. We think Apple's going to go to 250 again, or we think it's going to go down. We have no idea. We're not Nostradamus, right? But what we can do is we can play this like hedge funds. And we can just sell the option at $1,595, picking up $321 per contract for the next month. 10 contracts is $3,000 a month, right? That's 36 grand a year, roughly. So I hope that makes sense. You buy the stock, you sell the options against it. Now, if you really want to juice up the strategy, you could end up doing synthetics, but I'm not going to go into synthetics on this video. But I want you to be aware that there are ways that even on a boring stock like Apple that happens to be declining, there are strategies where you can protect your amount of money that you have at risk, and you can still, while you wait, make that, that $320 something per contract in juice, in income while you wait, which still turns out to be a covered return of 17% if it happens to go down, right? So you have all of that cushion, and that's the way you can look at it. If you want to be a little bit more brave, you go at the money. If you want to be even braver, you go a little bit out of the money. But if the stock is dropping, out of the money is not going to give you any cushion to the downside. Okay, I know I covered a lot. If you're a beginner, maybe watch this thing again. I have other videos on my channel. I have a playlist about covered calls, and I have a lot of different educational things here. So I hope that helps. But the idea is that I want to show you that there are ways using options that are really simple to buy a stock, sell a call against it, create income, and go to sleep at night. And when you wake up in a month, you got a bunch of money sitting in your account. Of course, anything can happen. Don't do this because I'm talking about it. But learn the strategy because it's a great tool to create income in your account. See you on the next video. Hey, it's Mark Yagi, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do that right now. That would be a great favor to me, and plus it helps me get this material out to a lot of other people that might need it. I've got a little bit of a movement going on here, and I want to try to change the world one person at a time, showing them that you can make safe, reliable income from the stock market. And plus it helps to grow the channel a little bit. Also, if you would give me a thumbs up on the video and like it, great. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down, that's cool. But just tell me why you don't like it so I can get better. And then hit the notification bell so you can get these videos as soon as they come out, because a lot of times this is timely information and you want to get that information before it gets stale. The last thing is to join my free Insider Tips newsletter. There's a link below and you get everything in one spot. You get breaking news and analysis also. So that would be great if you could do that too. See you soon.